All right, here we are. Same bad channel, new crew. Oh, we got Jason in here. How do I get down there? How do you get? Oh man, how do I get down? I'll go like this. Okay, hey guys, how you all doing? I got technical. We got Jason stuck down here. I'm not to get him in. Anyway, Monday night, guys, how you all doing? We're gonna do some Dolphins talk. I'm gonna get Jason in here about 2 seconds. I hope it works well for you. I want to try something different. I figure you guys are all out partying, having a good time on a Friday night. So we're gonna talk Dolphins. Got lots and lots of stuff to talk about. And I guess we'll kick it off with trying to Cody, you take it over here. I'm gonna try to figure out how to get Jason in here. All right, hold on.
All right, what do you guys got on your mind this week? Looks like there's some key players available, but not a lot going on in Dolphinville. Hopefully, we're keeping some coaches. That's what it sounds like.
Yeah.
You know about who we're keeping?
Daryl Bevel's going to be staying, that's for sure, it seems like. And
Weaver too.
Yep, Weaver, yeah. Kellen Moore is going to be the coach, looks like, for the Saints, and that's huge.
Oh, yeah. There's no way they're going to go for Weaver now. It would be like a total miracle. The fact that they're waiting until the Super Bowl's over, it says everything, I think.
Yeah.
I didn't think he was ready this cycle to get a job. He's a good coach, and but usually, and the Saints just came off of a defensive coordinator. I feel like they're gonna go. I feel like they were always gonna go more towards offense. Every team's gonna say the right things. Although we love, he's a good. They got to do the comply with the Rooney Rule and all that. Which I'm not saying that's the only reason they did it, but I'm just saying that they can't just like give him a sham interview. Y'all know how everything's going with the league and the minority coaches and all that stuff. So I just feel like the Saints were. They were going to go offense. It would have felt like a first-time head coach coming from Dennis Allen, a defensive coordinator. He was a head coach before, but then go into a first-time head coach with Weaver. That would have, I don't know, it just didn't seem like the move they were going to do this year, in my opinion.
Yeah, that's a Miami move, is what that is.
I don't know. Something about it just sounds weird, but like Kellen Moore looks like a chipmunk, dude. I don't know.
He looks like a little kid, kind of.
Yeah. I would, for me, like if I were looking as a player, I would be more into the Weaver type guy. I mean, I'm sure you could be great and all that, but there is a level of like physical presence, Like I remember when Philbin was here, immediately I was like, oh man, this is not good. He could be a genius and all that other stuff, but there is a physical presence needed. I don't know.
Mike McDaniel looks like a beast compared to Joe Philbin.
Isn't that crazy, right? It's true. It's true. And he dresses better too, so he's got both ends.
Philbin's an O-line coach. That's what his specialty is. This is O-line. So go figure.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I think go ahead. I'm sorry.
Once I saw him complaining about people putting gum on the carpet, I was like,
Philbin?
I heard that. I was hoping nobody'd say it. On the carpet. Oh man, turn around. We went from PG to something else, man.
I never heard this.
That's a new story.
Me either. I never did either. I know he had some quirky. You just knew we were doomed with that guy. It was just like no chance.
Oh, yeah.
The way he talked, and he was like, remember when he fired Ocho Cinco on the what was it, Hard Knocks? When he was like, what was Ocho Cinco, Vontae Davis? They traded him, but you could just tell he wasn't like a very authoritative figure. You know what I'm saying? He was very passive. You could tell he was like his facial. He wasn't like very stern when he said something. It was more like, reserved almost, where he was like, he made a lot of faces or he did this, and you kind of knew how he was feeling or what he was thinking if he was mad about something, but it was his facial expressions, you know what I'm saying? But he was just such a dork. Gosh, such a nerd. Jeez. And then, but I think Weaver, getting back to him for a second, I think his best career path, actually, best job of getting a head coaching position just might be with the Dolphins, actually. I said that months ago, before the season ended.
Yeah, if things don't pan out this year, I mean, That's a real likely thing.
Yeah, and if he does a good job, and like he did this year with not, he obviously had the short end. The defense was with injuries, with lack of depth, with all that, and just the losing Wilkins, stuff like that. But I thought he did a good job.
Now, let me ask you guys a question real quick. If, let's say Mike McDaniel tanks here at the beginning and does terribly, and they end up canning him, and they end up installing Weaver as the head coach, would you guys feel more comfortable with Frank Smith or Darrell Bevel as the offensive coordinator?
No, Frank Smith. No, Frank. I can't stand it. I cannot Frank Smith, dude.
Yeah, give me Darrell Bevel.
Yeah, he'd probably. I think Weaver would choose Bevel too, because I was hearing like he was thinking about taking him with him, right? Or if he did get a head coaching job, wasn't he talking about possibly? I know he was working with. He was talking to the Raiders with Pete Carroll, but I think that Weaver wasn't he maybe going to possibly take Bevel if he got the job with the Saints too? Thought I heard something like that.
I'm sure he would. It's hard for young coaches to find staff, so I think that would be definitely a prospect.
Yeah, and Bevel must have really wanted to stay here because, I mean, they hired Chip Kelly as their offensive coordinator for the Raiders, right?
That's crazy.
I thought for sure Bevel was going to be gone.
So did Bevel choose us? Did Bevel choose to stay, or did the Raiders just hire Chip Kelly?
I mean, he met with the Raiders, right, once. I mean, I know for sure he met with them once, but from what I gathered, they wanted Bevel, and then all of a sudden Chip Kelly gets hired, and I kind of feel like maybe
so out of left field.
Yeah, that wasn't what I was expecting. So I figured
Pete
maybe
Carroll fired Darrell Bevel back in the day. Like he fired him. He was an OC back. That would have been kind of, usually you don't see that too often where they go back to where you were fired from. But I mean, it happens. But,
won a Super Bowl with them, and they were at a second Super Bowl. I think it was just because he had been with them like 8 or 9 years or something.
A long time.
Oh, well,
I liked his offense. I thought he ran a good offense. I loved watching Marshawn.
Except for not running Marshawn.
Yep, the one play. And there's a real deep conspiracy about they really wanted Wilson, the face of the franchise. They didn't want I won't talk to the media Lynch being the Super Bowl hero. And I'm like, who really thinks of it that deep to sabotage your own? No, they just outsmarted themselves. They're like, everyone knows it's going to be Marshawn, but damn it, Marshawn would have pounded it in. There's zero doubt in my mind. That guy was a stud.
And actually, believe it or not, not running on 4th and short or not running on the goal line, it's pretty common around the NFL. We're Dolphin fans, and it does happen here probably more than normal, but it's a lot of teams struggle on short yardage situations if you can't get the easy QB sneak, or if you don't have that big bruising back. I see teams all the time on 4th and 1 get stopped, and it's like they don't, if they don't have that quarterback that can sneak it, or if they don't have, like I said, a big bruise, a running back, or a great offensive line. But usually the teams with a great offensive line have a pretty good running back. It's like, it's never like, a great offensive line has a bad running back. You just don't see that very often, it seems like. And you don't see but you do see good running backs behind bad offensive lines a lot too. So, but that I think QB sneak is we're just almost 50%, I believe, on 3rd or 4th and 1 across the NFL are converted with quarterback sneak.
Yeah,
50%.
That's
crazy.
Or just
a QB sneak, or just a QB sneak. So
bring in Mariota. Crazy. They're talking about Mariota. Just bring him in on 3rd and 1, 4th and 1 for a QB sneak. Like, they know you're running it. It's not like
did you see the Washington game? The Washington and the Bucks playoff game where they did the 4th and 1 and they got too cute. Cute.
Way too cute.
With that tush push stuff, though, is really
important. Those Lions. I'm sorry. Yeah,
it's really important though to have a potent interior. So I don't think every team can do it. I mean, the Eagles have Becton, who's 360 pounds. And, they've got the other guy on the other side. I can't remember his name. The left guard. Center's okay. But if you notice the Bills, man, even with Allen,
Well, because he's a beast. Yeah, they're both big quarterbacks that can squat. Jalen Hurts can squat 600 pounds. Like he's, even if you are to stop the O line, Hurts can still drive his legs forward and get that yard. So it's like,
but Allen couldn't, because that interior three for the Bills isn't that good.
They got exposed. That was
the thing with the Bills is that, Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
No, they were running on everybody. Number one running team in the playoffs, just bowling over really good running defenses. But the Chiefs front is legit. And the interior for the Buffalo Bills, which has been running over everybody, they finally met their match.
Yeah.
And people love Mahomes and the offense, but I'll tell you what, man, that defense and that front, that makes your life just a living hell. If Josh Allen can't get a yard on you, you have a legitimate front.
So you think that the plan will be to get like a Mariota, or maybe draft an athletic quarterback, physical guy in mid rounds, and use him for those kind of plays?
I'd like to think so. That's what we're missing.
I'm not a big fan of bringing the guy in on for one play. It's like everybody knows what you're going to do, and I know you can. We'll see. But if it works, it works. I don't care how they do it. To be quite honest with you. But the thing with the Bills, though, they actually had a very good game running the ball. Did you hear the cornerback or the cornerback for the Chiefs? He said if they would have ran the ball to the right or did anything differently, they would have converted it. They said they sold out. They sold out to go because they knew he was going to go left every time. They didn't switch up the snap counts. They didn't do anything. They did nothing.
Coaching. Yep.
I mean, yeah, it was, and after you got stopped a couple times, it was like, "What are you doing, bro?"
That was bad coaching. It was so obstinate.
Is it just pride? It worked all year, and we know we're going to run it on you. Is that what it was?
Yeah, it was working for them, But all you got to do is tap on the right cheek, like we're going to go to the right this time. A lot of teams have that as like that audible. The quarterback will pat him on the right hand side, especially if it's right or left. Or they'll put his hand behind if it's a running back run, like, hey, we're going to switch it to the right with his thumb going this way or that way. You'll see that a lot with quarterbacks, which, if it's a quick play, we're going to run real quick to the right or left, and even the offensive line doesn't know which way it's going to go, like a QB sneak or something. You know what I mean? Their job is just to get pushed. But yeah, it's just the Chiefs sold out.
Brissett would come in for the Colts for a little while there and always run the QB sneak, and it was pretty good. Yeah, it was pretty good. I think.
Well, they got that Colts front, man, offensive line.
Yeah.
Nelson's unbelievable. I still think that Jason, though, that in order to get these tush pushes, these quarterback runs to be successful, you need some stout front. The Bills, I think it's Edwards and McGovern are the left guard and center, and they just don't got it. And then Torrance is pretty good, but he struggled all year with run blocking. So I think you got to have the guys up front. And so it will come down to, what are we going to do about our front? Are we really going to take care of business? Are we going to shoot to try to take care of business? And when we shoot, are we going to hit the target?
Yeah.
Yep.
I think we'll shoot. I definitely think we'll shoot.
So you think we'll do both? I mean, what do you guys think we're going to shoot at? Let me know what you guys, and even in the comments, anybody wants to put comments, let me know what players you guys think we're going to shoot for. Yeah, I hear it all the time. Kelvin Banks. I'll get into that in a second.
Oh, in the draft?
Yeah, with that 13th.
Yeah, I mean, that's going to be – he's one player. I like Kelvin Banks. I like the guy from I even like the guy, Emory Jones from LSU. Now, he's not a top – I don't know if he's a top 13 pick, but he's a guard that I like too, that you can get. But the first round, I'm not 100% sure with all the I know there's a couple of good tackles, the guy from Texas, or is that Banks? The guy from Texas?
Yeah, Banks, I think, is from Texas. I've been watching his film. I should know where he's from.
Is he a guard or a left tackle, though?
He's a tackle. They're kind of projecting as a guard.
Yeah, he's the guy who just declared that he was going to come out.
I think so. I don't know.
Declared for the draft. Yeah. So yeah, and then I know you have the guy from Georgia, right? Or
Yeah.
the guy from Georgia. It's I haven't really done a full like the all positions on the draft yet. I do have to do that in time, but yeah, I mean, I'm pretty sure they'll bring in guys. I know everyone's saying Trey Smith from the Chiefs. He's gonna. I'd be surprised if
We
they let
can't.
him
No
go.
way. We can't
Yeah, but he's
afford
gonna
that. He
be top
wants
of the
20
market,
million. 20 million.
and
No
he's
way
only
we can afford
25 years old, bro. So yeah, if Robert Hunt got that last year, Trey Smith is probably gonna get it
that.
too.
We can't afford that. That's not
So I think
Be
you
happening.
a
got James
Viking.
Daniels from the Steelers. You got James Daniels, who Steeler fans, or if you ask them, some are mixed on him.
I
He's
don't
more
know.
of an interior guy. Yeah, I mean, I honestly don't believe that all of our problem is just players. I don't. I believe that it's coaching. So, and you know, I believe you could go out and get the best. If you get the best guard, yeah, he's going to play well. But like, you can't just get the best player at every position for if that's what you need for your offense to succeed, or then that's on you. You know what I'm saying? Like, if we have to go out and get the best players at every position on the line, like
No, I don't
every
think
team
that's.
has a weak link. Every team, most teams, like the Eagles, are a very they're the exception to the rule. They have like a top five. Every player on their line is good. Even the Lions, they have like one or two players on their line which are like, but it's Penei Sewell who makes that line go. The Chiefs, they have a good interior, but their tackles are not good at all. They've been getting beat all year. Like teams have flaw. Usually, you have one or two really good offensive linemen, and then the rest are like, ancillary pieces. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but I'll take a little different slant on it. So it's not always so much the talent. Hey, caller, what's going on? The highest IQ Miami Dolphin supporter, and with the correct balance takes. Hey, I like that, caller. Thank you. I'll pay you that $5 later for that fine comment. I gotta do what I gotta do, man.
Get your cut.
Thank you, caller. You're awesome. You always have smart comments, man. Really, you do. Okay. So there's two ways to look at it. First, you got the chemistry. And, obviously health, chemistry of how they play together.
Yep.
But within that chemistry, there's talent chemistry. I had been saying for a couple of years, we've been building this offensive line incongruently. And so we have like disparate parts. We have one player whose strength is, say, movement blocks. And then right next to him is a guy who can't do movement blocks, but he can run power blocks. And then next to him, you got a guy who can't do anything. Well, I guess we'll call him Eichenberg.
Yep.
And then you got a guy next to him who can't power block, but he can only do movement blocks and kind of do it okay. And so you got to build your offensive line. You want talent everywhere, but you're not going to get it, and you don't need it. You can have a guy who's average at run blocking, he's tough, and he's average at pass blocking, but he's a little savvy. And he could be a good linchpin weak piece. But you can't have guys that can't move anyone. Plenty of people might challenge my eval, but my number one eval for an offensive lineman is ability to handle power. It at least has to be average. When you have a team full of guys that lack the ability to handle power or exert power, it is so difficult to call, because you have to remember that DCs are sitting there going, he can do this, he can't do this. The defense did this and it worked, and that defense did this and it didn't work. And I can prove it. You can go back to the Denver game. And I said this. I said, they played their edges so far inside. They were getting cracked by Craycraft. They ripped them a new one. And then right after that game, you watch the edges slowly start marching out. You start watching the linebackers slowly marching up back. And these DCs are going, oh, you know what? They can't run inside. All they like to do is go outside. So we're going to take away what they're good at. And so McDaniel shows up with a limited menu, A, of what he's going to call, and B, what he can do. And the most critical ground, it's just like chess. Those center four squares on a chessboard is how you can control a chessboard. The A gap, and then next to it is the B gap. If you do not have an ability to dictate those squares at some point, then you're not going to work in the red zone, and you're not going to have a consistent defense. offense, and the defense is going to play you and loosen that interior, and then they're going to do the exterior stuff and then play the pass. And so McDaniel might not be the guy, but you cannot tell me that anyone who's not high on peyote, dipped in acid, and drinking a bottle of Jack would put together this. I mean, Austin Jackson for what, $12 million a year? That's like, there's something wrong there. He can move a little bit. He can't really pass block one-on-one. He can't really move guys. Eichenberg, that is like Crackville decisions year after year. And then Brewer, I like Brewer on the move, but he's under 300 pounds. He can't move anybody. And he's next to Eichenberg, who can't move anybody. And then you retain
right. You got to have one.
Jones.
You got to have at least one.
You have,
look,
you can have a center who's soft, like say not soft, like Brewer, but then you got to flank him by big guys who offset his weakness.
Right. You got to, yep. Well, that's what I said. That's what I said. That you got to have at least one or two pieces on your O line, and like Armstead is good. Not only that, but we're always asked to they're just asked to pass block too much. Or they're and they're not, and even the run schemes, in my opinion, we don't have enough variety and we don't mix enough gap with zone. You know what I'm saying, with the inside zone scheme. And I believe that you have to be able to do that, or at least show enough on tape to where defense. The problem with the Dolphins is we are not forcing defenses to cover every blade of grass. Like in the passing game, yes, Tyreek can run routes and he could beat somebody there, but then Tua can't get it to a certain. He's very limited on the field where his accuracy and his velocity are, you know what I'm saying? But then you got the run game. We don't have the power element, but also we don't have the blockers. Then we don't have then the inside, Achan's too small to run inside. It's just and then we don't have big receivers that are also doing their part on the outside to hold up, to help. And then our tight ends are iffy. They hold. They're not fundamentally sound. That's another problem with the offense. They don't key in on fundamentals. Too many holding calls. Too many illegal hands to the face. Too many whatever it is. It's just it's too many penalties, negative plays mixed with the narrowness of what the offense is capable of doing, like you said. And I think that and it's not fair to blame it on one person, but I just think that when you have to have, you either have to have that guy you either have to have a stud quarterback that can do it all, or you have to have a really good O-line, or you have to have really good players everywhere, solid players everywhere.
Well, I'm going to answer Paul, because he's kind of saying what you're saying sort of. And it's the chicken or the egg.
Right. I mean, sorry, just jumping real quick, guys.
Go for it.
So I had said a comment on Dirk's page when he made his video this past weekend where, right now, I'm sorry, but I'm on the doom and gloom train. I'm on it right now, like hardcore. And I mean, it's a thing where, everybody's coming back in our division stronger, or already strong with the Bills, but where the Patriots are getting revamped with their new coach. The Jets are getting revamped with their new coach. And with us, I want McDaniel to be successful. I mean, we all do. We want the team to do good this coming year, of course. But it's just a thing where it's like, how can we expect him with Greer and with all the pieces that are missing that we need everywhere, that for everything, for them to keep their jobs, that everything has to be perfect? Or we're going to need the safeties, the tackles inside, the guards inside, a court. It's just so much that I'm like, I have, of course, the most, hope for them, but I mean, I know we have 10 picks to career state too, but I think it's a lot for them that has to get right for our team.
Yeah,
right.
You got a good it's a good question. Someone else answer. I got a hold in my head. Someone else want to say something, because I want to answer Abel.
I was just going to say that, there's a lot that needs to happen, but I mean, if we look at this in comparison to last year, and we just think solely on the thing that what's the one thing that's going to fix an awful lot on our team without having to change a bunch. And it's pretty simple. We all know the answer. And if we just devote 5 to 6 of our picks and a couple free agent signings on the offensive line and just fill the gaps in anywhere else we can with the rest of the stuff, our team will be better. I mean, I guarantee it. I mean, nobody's going to, take my word for it, but that's where I'm at with this, is if we just focus on the offensive line and nothing else, this team will get better. And that's where I'm at with it. I know there's a lot of other things we can do, but if you compare it to last year, this really isn't that bad. This is a lot more straightforward and a lot smaller contracts that we need to work with this year, guys, compared to last year. Last year we had to sign Waddle and Tua and all these guys that had bigger contracts, and we had to do a lot of restructuring. We're going to have to do a little bit of restructuring this year, but this is nothing on the level of last year. I feel like this is going to be a much more straightforward season or off season than last year.
Really? Do you think
Personally,
so?
I do.
I think we're in a bad
Hold on.
Go ahead.
Hold on. There's 3 good questions now.
Oh, no.
Hold on. Let me just take care of it. All right. So all 3 of these, in my mind, I see like a connection. And to me, they all kind of answer something. I'm just going to put out real quick. So is it possible McDaniel was limited by the interior O-line, seriously broken, especially at guard? Therefore, he couldn't run inside. Also, pass rush getting immediate pressure up the middle. So that was the first thing.
Yep.
And then the second thing was Abel talking about it. I feel like really down. I feel like I'm on the negative train. And so now you're saying, look, we have this framework. It's not really that bad. There's things we can do. And your point is the O-line. And so for me, I look at you, first off, we can't say we're going to Super Bowl. That is so far out of the picture. So if you lower Super Bowl and you change that the goal is to become coherent, that is possible. And then the coherency can develop success. And if you link 2 coherent off seasons together, then you can start raising the bar. The Dolphins, the mind of the fan is we got to go to Super Bowl. It's never been that. It's to be coherent. And so for me, you can, in this draft, if you have a high-end successful draft, do enough to get this team coherent. And for me, it starts with the O-line and tight ends. Because if you create a platform for the skills to not have to overachieve, and you force the defense to have a 2-way go of interior run, exterior run, and then pass and run, then you're going to get time of possession. You're going to get the defense rested. You're going to put points on, and then you're going to find the whole thing starts moving. Yep. And but if we take it back to Paul's original take, it's impossible to have success when you build incoherently. Now, being coherent doesn't mean McDaniel can do it, but it certainly means incoherent builds will force him to not be able to. So that was my take. So I'm sorry, Jason, finish up what you wanted to say. I just wanted to get everybody.
I think there's teams in the league. I think teams in the league have proven you could win in multiple different ways. The Dolphins didn't build a power team. Now, I'm not saying you can win a Super Bowl but I mean, you see the flashy teams with speed and an accurate quarterback, and you saw us last year. I believe that they thought that was the future, and I believe that they thought that was how teams are going to win in the league. You saw the Rams when they had Cooper Kupp, and they had Demarcus Robinson, and they had before Puka Nacua got there a few years ago when Kupp won the Triple Crown. They were a pass-heavy offense. They didn't have an outstanding defense. They had Aaron Donald, but I mean their defense wasn't exceptional. They were good, but they weren't like this 85 Bears. They had no run game at all. That's where I think the Dolphins made the mistake. I think the Rams won the Super Bowl. They kind of bought it. They had OBJ. That's when they had Odell. They had Kupp, and they kind of like bought they said F them picks, and they, you know what I'm saying? And they won the Super Bowl with like Stafford, and it was kind of a shoot. They were a passing team. And then, you see the Niners, they've had a lot of success. They've been a run team, but it's also that run pass. You know what I'm saying? That they're also, they pass the ball a lot with Jimmy Garoppolo, Purdy, and all that. And you see the Bengals, they're no run game really to speak of. The Bengals, they've been a pass heavy team ever since Burrow got there. So I mean, I think that there is some validity to being able to pass the ball, but I think when you get into the playoffs, you have to be able to, and even during a regular season, to take some pressure off your quarterback. But you have to be able to win in multiple ways, because it's just not always, it's not always ideal. I just don't see I think that a better O line would appease the fans. Then I'm still not sold that a better O line is the fix all to the team. But maybe I'm wrong. I'm willing to be wrong.
Well, I got a question for you then. I got a question for you,
you
Jason. I got a question for you. Hold on, before I got a question for you. Name one successful team that doesn't have a good offensive line. Name one.
Oh, no. I agree. That's why I said I think the Dolphins, that they do have to improve O line. There's
They
no
don't
doubt.
need to be great. Doesn't need to be top 5.
I just don't know. I don't think that it's. I don't think that we know for sure. I know that you can evaluate how they get off.
I know for sure.
No, you know, but I think you're great. I think you're great at what you do.
The Texans.
No,
the Texans were the
that's how
only
you
team
do
in
it.
the playoffs that didn't have a good O line. And
And the Bengals a couple years ago, their O line's been terrible. They went to the Super Bowl. I mean, but my point being is that I don't know how much our offense. Yes, I think I will be a better offense, and I think we'll be able to run the ball, which will ultimately improve the offense, like as far as balance and everything. But I don't think that our offense is going to change that much. Maybe he commits to the run more, maybe, like we can hope. But again, maybe I don't think Tua is all of a sudden going to start holding the ball back there. I don't think that and he's going to hold the ball and he's going to scan the field for 5 seconds, and I don't believe that his game is going to change.
Well,
and I don't believe that.
Jason, it's not so much that. It's not so. That's like a way to look at it. Like, give him more time to throw the football. It's not that. All the top quarterbacks, even if the Bengals, when went to the Super Bowl, they were blitzed 30% of the time. You've got to. So football is a game of a few plays that switch the whole thing around. Blitz is, if you're not being blitzed, then it means your offense has constantly got a top on it. It's about the blitz comes, you make the right call, it gets picked up enough, and you hit the weakened secondary. And now sometimes that comes through a run blitz when you call a play action. But if you're not being blitzed at all, and then you can't, because remember, what all the defenses did, and it was so brilliant. Hey, you got these explosive guys. You get these big pop plays, you get ahead, and then you're screwed. Let's just keep the top on. You run the ball. Okay, you run it outside. We'll limit you. You'll get a few penalties here or there. Maybe you'll get in a 3rd and long, and then we stop you. Even if you march down to the red zone,
red zone,
run inside. You're not doing all this gap movement and outside runs to the edge when we're playing wide. And to me, the seminal moment was Dallas playing dime on us on the 4-yard line to go on the goal line. That was like crazy. Dime in the red zone, and they stopped us. And so if you are able to run that football, then you're going to get crunched boxes. You're going to get leverage from the linebackers stepping up. So a linebacker sitting at 5 yards. When that ball snapped and you're in pistol or shotgun, they can see everything because they're so far back. They have the angle. They also have the angle to the edge. There's no scrum to have to run around. You have direct line. And so just by simply getting those linebackers to go to 3.5 or even 4 is going to alter so much. And then you might actually get some cover ones. You might get a little bit different looks where everything's crunched. And then that's how you use your speed to get over the top. To me, you just need a 15th rank offense of line. Yep. And it would open everything up. And it's with the Bengals, they weren't good. Burrow got his behind beat, but they still could run the ball with Mixon enough to get the different looks. So that's my 2 cents. Sorry.
Well,
We're
and
talking
also,
offensive line.
a
I got
couple
to
years
interrupt.
ago, yeah. No, but also a couple years ago, teams weren't playing the 2 deep shell as frequently as they have been the last 2 years. That and also I think it depends on the quarterbacks. Some quarterbacks are better against the blitz. Like remember, this all analytics driven. Like you have some quarterbacks that are not that they just don't get it when they're blitzed, they panic a little bit or whatever the case is. I do think Tua is good against the blitz. That's why teams don't blitz him as much.
Yeah.
And they don't have to, but he's also his numbers wise. Tua is good against the blitz. Like
He's number 1 in the NFL.
Well, yeah, I remember when teams were blitzing him a couple years ago. It was like taking candy from a baby.
Well, think about this. It was 25.5% in 22, 24% in 23, and then dropped to 17%. And just a swing of about 8%, you can see the whole offense sputter.
Another thing that I think about is Joe Burrow, whether he's got a bad offensive line or not, he can navigate the pocket. He can navigate the blitz. He prefers, bad O-line or not, he wants 5 eligibles. And we will go in with 2, 3 eligibles, and one of them's running a dummy route that doesn't make any sense.
Well, he needs to get rid of those kind of plays because the Bengals live it out of the shotgun, which I like. Like for him, that's good, and for Tua, he's more of the shotgun. He's than under center. But the Dolphins, what they were doing this year was actually the right approach. Like teams are giving you the nickel, like the long play, the long sustained drives. That's eating up clock and that's getting first downs. But the problem with us is we always find a way to kill ourselves, whether it's through a penalty or a turnover or a sack or whatever the case is. That was our problem. And the Bengals were having problems too. I mean, they went on a run at the end of the year, but earlier in the year, I mean, their defense was just horrible this year. But if you look at the Bengals play, they used 4 tight ends this year, 4 tight ends. And Joe Burrow, of course, he has Jamar Chase and Higgins was out a bunch of games too this year. But it's like he used his tight ends leaking out of the backfield and this and that. Like they just had so many. But the methodical approach was the right approach by the Dolphins, because you just weren't going to be hitting big plays all game. It just wasn't going to happen.
Imagine Tua with a legitimate offensive line, and I know you're talking about he's not going to hold the ball. He doesn't hold the ball. But if he has 5 solid blockers and guys out in routes, multiple guys in routes running good routes, he's going to find the guy. He's not going to hold it forever. That's his strength, is he can find a guy. I just don't think he usually has a lot of options, is what it looks like. And the defense knows they're not going to run it. And if they do, it's going to be pretty easy for us to stop. So I just think that limits his options. And if he has 5 eligibles and an offensive line that can do something and a legitimate play action, get him under center. I think the guy, like Sam Darnold. Sam Darnold didn't get it done, right? He looked like the old New York Jets, Sam Darnold in the playoffs. So you never really know. The offensive line looked good. He had a good year, but he really turned into who he really was. I don't know if I really know who Tua is because I haven't seen him in a situation where I'm like, oh, damn, your offense, you had a great year. And then what happened there? You saw ghosts. I haven't seen him on a team like that. So I want to believe he can do it, but I just haven't seen it. And I think an offensive line will improve this team. Maybe I'm an offensive line like, I don't really know, a lover. I just feel like that's the team. And when you have an offensive line in a run game, everything else gets easier or harder,
Oh, man, I got no eyes. Mason Taylor is declined. His card. His card. Oh, he's destined to be a Dolphin.
Oh, yeah.
Who?
Mason Taylor.
I got to check him out.
Mason Taylor. There's actually, I think this is a good tight end class, believe it or not.
Yeah.
I don't think we need to go after Tyler Warren at 13. He's a good player.
Get a blocker. Get a Tyler Kraft type. We don't need a big splash. We just need a guy who can play in line and block and do his job.
Tucker Kraft is awesome. Yeah, I liked him that year too, Tucker Kraft. Didn't he come out of Tucker Kraft? Was that?
Yeah, that was the guy I wanted.
South Dakota State? Tucker Kraft?
I wanted him in the 4th round. It was crazy. We passed on him.
Yeah.
No,
I
they,
don't know.
they drafted 2 tight ends that year too. I think the second and third, or third and fourth, something like that. They drafted Luke Musgrave too that
Yeah.
year. I think the second rounder. Yeah, the Packers did.
So now, okay, we're talking tight ends. Now, the thing is, you have to, in my opinion, I don't want to sound like I'm an expert or anything, but the safeties over the top is not the main. It's a piece of the puzzle, but it's the combination with the linebacker leverage. When you add cover 2 and deep linebackers, and you have a quarterback who can't throw the deep outs, that means you're sealing the top and you're cutting off the middle, and you're putting those linebackers in positions to get the edge runs. And that's basically our menu. Now, you were talking about 4 tight ends. The tight end group is an extension of the offensive line who can catch, but they force linebackers to play differently. So even if the offensive line's like, but you got a tight end or 2 who could block and catch, and you can kind of run a little bit and you pass, those linebackers are instantly committing more to the front. They're creeping up because they don't know if you're going to actually run the football or they're going to pass. And so they've got to kind of hedge their bets. But then also on the snap of the ball, they are a little bit more hesitant. And you'll get a little bit more run blitzes. And if they think it's a run and you're passing, it becomes a pass blitz. And so the tight end group, because I think it was Zonka had said Warren. I'm not big. I was big on him originally at 13, but there are other guys out there with Jonnu. If we didn't have Jonnu, I'd be like, eh. Now, if this kid Warren's as good as the dude from Vegas, I'd say take him. But I don't know if he is. I haven't studied him not. But our linebackers,
I think he's better at other certain things. I think he might be a better blocker overall than Bowers.
Kind of a power player.
Yeah, he's more like but he's not as fast, as explosive, and I don't think he has the same hands as Bowers. Like, no way.
So yeah, I wouldn't take, because they're all guys in that because you have the pass catch who sort of blocks. Now you need the guy who's balanced on the other side. I think they could fix this thing.
No, they need a dual, but see, Jonnu's not really the best blocker either. He's more of a speed receiver. I think they need an all-around tight end, like a guy that's going to be here for 5 or 6 years at least. Hopefully get a second contract. But I mean, I think we need that guy that who's the one guy besides back in the day we had like Farrell Edmonds, and then we had but who was
Anthony Fasano was
tight
good.
end,
Fasano was good.
Fasano was good.
But who was the guy? And Tony Gonzalez was Chiefs. Like, he was there for 11 years.
Oh yeah,
12
Keith Jackson for a while. Keith Jackson
but he was
like
but he was more with Philly than most of his career.
No,
but
he had like 3 or 4 big seasons. I met his
But
cousin.
what I'm saying is that franchise, like John Mackey with the Colts, or George Kittle with the Niners, who's been there for 8-10 years. Who can you say that about the Dolphins?
Was supposed to, but he never panned out. That was a bad trade.
But they were only here for like 3-4 years. I'm talking about a guy that was here, like a Dolphin tight end legend. Like, you can't really say besides Troy Drayton. I could even bring up Troy Drayton too. Troy Drayton was pretty good.
I thought he was going to be good. Yeah, McMichael was good.
McMichael, yeah, he was good, but I mean, he's just not that but he's not
tight end.
Yeah.
He was the
Hunter Goodwin. Was there a Hunter Goodwin that we're forgetting about?
Hunter Goodwin. I'll bring up some good old time. Man, I remember all
him and Rob Conrad going out there taking bodies.
Two things quick. I disagree with Carla. I think you're the greatest. To Wright is a one-cut inside runner, and there's no holes inside. If you put this kid with an offensive line that can block to his skill set, I don't think he's a bust. I think he's very good. From what I've seen, the limited that I've seen, I think if you give this kid, and that's another thing, if you build your offensive line to run inside zone, this kid's going to do well. I'm not saying great, but this offense, notice how over the last 10 years or so, every big back that's like a one-cut back, they never really do well here. I think we had the one kid who ran for a ton of yards. What was his name against that 1 year in 2016? But he had
Lamar Miller. Lamar Miller.
No, Lamar Miller was little.
That was
Jay Ajayi.
Yeah.
Oh, Ajayi, yeah.
But the bigger backs, those one-cut guys who can't get down and break down inside, we haven't because we don't have that kind of blocking. So,
Well, HN2 was supposed to be a good one cut, but the problem is, like, what happened to that part of our offense? Because usually you're supposed to get the offense flowing one way, and then the running back, like, let's say you slide to the left area, and then you cut back while the defense is all moving to the right. It's like, I don't know. For some reason, I thought.
Well, there's a reason for that. It was a
They're not
great.
staying at home too.
There was a great clip by Gruden, and he was talking to offensive linemen. He's like, "We're running outside zone. Who's got the block? Where's the ball going?" And everyone's like, "Everywhere. Every block on an outside zone counts. So if you get any breakdowns along the way, then your cutback's destroyed." And so we didn't have tight ends who could block. We didn't have guys who could stay in blocks. We had Eichenberg. And so there was no cutback. That's mostly why.
And then they stay at home. Like if you're not right, and also once you're ripping them in the run, that's when people start overcommitting, and and they start biting more. That's when you start ripping those runs, and then that's when you gash them even better. That the cutback starts. Aaron Jones, very good cutback runner. CMC, obviously, but yeah, they do it real well with him.
But you need all the way down the line guys blocking.
Yeah, I do like Ollie Gordon. I'm a big Ollie Gordon fan.
I don't know. In that, I'll have to think about telling that story. I work with Keith Jackson's. I work with somebody who played on the Dolphins. As was a tight end during the Dan Marino era. It's not Keith Jackson.
You already let the cat out of the bag, man.
But I remember if you go back and watch the playoff game where the Dolphins lost, the Stoyos kick went wide. Remember that?
Oh.
And do you remember all the weirdness with Keith Jackson, like the weird penalties he got or whatever?
But he caught like 2 touchdowns, didn't he? Or 3 touchdowns?
When it came down to that final drive to win, there was a lot of weirdness that went on. Anyway, I don't know.
Yeah.
I talked to Keith Jackson's cousin, and he said that there was I'm not gonna say because I might get in trouble. Never mind. I'm not gonna say anymore. Anyway, whatever.
Well, he was like, they would. A lot of people would say that they were, they showboated a little too much. And, Marino, I think, wanted them to just score and get back to the huddle. I heard some story about that years ago where it was like, especially Keith Jackson was always like, and him and the guys were up. He was always doing that and all that. So I was like, what the hell, man? Just get back, Marino. I don't know if Marino thought that personally, but I heard there were stories about, some of the guys were Tony Martin back in the day, just a little too showboaty, but it is what it is.
I don't want to get in trouble, so I'm not gonna say nothing. But anyway, yeah, his cousin was huge, dude. I shook his cousin's hand, dude. It was one of the biggest. Guy was he played the D1 football. It was really good, man. It was good. Anyway, whatever. No, he is big enough. I think he's like about 215.
Yeah, I think he's 215. Yeah.
Yeah, he's not a power back, but if you watch him, he gets
his claws,
and he's a one cutter. But he's
like a smooth running back.
A lot of the stuff that bothered me a little bit was that he got a lot of his reps in college out of draws. I think he could do it. I think he could be good. But
another thing is some running backs need carries, bro. You got to you can't just give Derrick Henry 5 carries a game and then go, oh man, he played like crap today, man. That's what the Titans did at the beginning. People thought Derrick Henry was a bust, or I think his first year or whatever. But his first year, he would only come. He was because it was DeMarco Murray, I believe, or there was some other running back they had, and it was like. He would come in and he would, but he's just the kind of guy you got to give him 15, 20 carries, bro. And then it's like, that's the guy, he starts wearing down the defense. They don't want to hit him no more. And then he starts gashing those 30, 40, boom, Henry's obviously.
But he doesn't have the speed to get to the perimeter. And right.
Oh, right.
Yeah, he's not with our blocking. And then he doesn't have, if you watch him, he's a little tight-hipped. He makes these hard cuts, but he can't bring it back hard, bend it back on the cutback. He's a guy you want to hit the A, B, or C gap right on the edge, kind of straightforward, make the jump, and then he hits the hole. He's not fast enough to get the edge, and we can't open up anything inside. So it's really just a poor meshing of our offensive line and his talents. I think he could do it.
I would like to see us add a running back. I mean, if he turns out playing right, but I think that I would love this running back. I think we can get a really good running back late in the draft this year because it's so deep of a class, and it's like we could to use a 6th-round pick and get possibly a starting running back or a good running back in a rotation that we can count on. I think this is a good year to draft a running back later in the draft.
We got 10 picks.
Right.
So okay, let's go and try to go concrete here. So if we got the 13th around the 45, and then we got 2 conditional thirds. Okay, so just positionally, what would you like to use with those 4 picks? What would you view?
Go ahead, Abel. What's up, Abel? What's up, Abel?
I mean, I'm gonna go right with you guys on the offensive line. I don't know. Maybe at 13, I might be reaching too high for where the pick that we're in. Maybe trading a little bit back and still getting like that lineman and getting like another extra pick. Because from that 45 to the ones in the 3rd round, what is it? 90? I think it's what we have 98 or 100 or something like that. I mean, we have to hit on those picks. But I would probably say offensive line. But what do you think, Cody? What would you say?
Big guys. I don't care if it's offensive line or defensive line. Whoever's the best value, we need both of them. I want the biggest, fattest defensive tackle. I want a Pat Williams, and I just want a monster interior player on the O-line. Like, that's just what I want. That's what we're missing. That's what this team needs. So make it happen.
If we've got at 13, if we've got that defensive tackle, that inside defensive lineman that we want, if he's there at 13, we take him. If he's not there, if we can wait a little while to pick up a decent defensive tackle, which we very well could. If we can, we don't take at 13. We try to turn that pick into 2. And then we go after offensive linemen later on, because I feel like it's either we draft a defensive lineman at 13 or we turn it into 2 picks. And I don't really see another use for 13. I mean, some people say Ashton Janty, and I mean, I get it, but we're going the Chris Greer route with that.
He also has a lot of mileage on it.
Yeah, we're looking at the pretty sports car instead of the Honda Civic that's going to get us to work and back. And I feel like
trading is weird though in the draft because it's like, unless it's a quarterback or like a really, really, really good player that falls, it's like teams don't just trade up in the 1st round to pick up. You know what I'm saying? They don't do that. So unless and it's like if a player that good is there, let's just say I don't know, Kelvin Banks slips to 13. It's like, do you really want the Dolphins to trade that pick? It's hard to say. That's how I feel about trading up. Is it's usually like unless now, and this isn't a deep quarterback draft, so it's like, is a team really going to want to trade up to 13? You never know though, so you can't count it out. But they're just so fickle. As fans, I do mock draft simulator all the time, and it's like, oh man, I trade these picks. It's like you could pick up 30 picks in the draft if you want to, but it's just not how it works in the real NFL. So
I think it doesn't have to be like. I think you can get somebody to take that 13th pick and you can move to 17 or 16. I think there's some guys there. For me, I'm really starting to fall in love with the guy Kenneth Grant. I always love DIs that says I wanted Lawrence, I wanted Vita Vea, I wanted Nagata, I wanted Will Falk. I wanted those guys. And so for me, what I would say is I'll talk about Banks on my podcast. I'm 50-50 on him. Not to say he's not a good player, but for us, I think we need a DI. We need a tight end. If we can get a tackle that's good value, that's fine because I want to move off Jackson. But I would say DI, tight end, and a 2 offensive linemen with those first 4 picks. That would be my. And I think you need you need to totally solidify something. I don't want to give away. What do you guys think about Banks? I like him, but I'm concerned with what we do.
He's a beast. I know he's a beast. That's what I know. I mean, he's a big dude. You know, I mean, but
athlete. Not super powerful though. He's big, but he's
No.
an unbelievable athlete. Like for the screens, he's phenomenal. To get to the second level, he's phenomenal. But he's also got a little weakness of getting beat at tackle. He's got a little bit of a slow kick. He's kind of like a tweener. But then if you move him inside, his movement skills kind of get a little offset, and then his not so much power. He's got a good lower body, but his upper body, he doesn't drive people out. And so my concern is that it's just going to lean more into what we're doing. He's not going to really solve the problem. So Banks, for me, I see potential there. The guy could get stronger and start digging people out, whatever, get his kick better. But we need guys to dig. We need a DI. We need a blocking, catching tight end, and we need diggers at the 2 guard spots. So that would be my 4.
Yeah. Is there a Haloti Nada or a Willie Rowe
Grant
in this draft?
Grant.
Yeah.
Grant.
Okay.
And I'm afraid the Bills are going to get him.
Nada.
well, there's a guy from Tennessee too, Pierce. He's more of an end, right? Pierce.
Yeah, I think he's an end. Yeah.
But he could
He's
play
pretty
all over. He could play all 4
yeah.
positions.
Yeah, but
he's good.
we need to get Sealer out. We need Sealer in that 3 to 5 technique. He can't be sitting in the inside anymore. I'm worried the Bills are going to grab him. That Grant guy. That Grant guy looks really good. If you put him next to Oliver is not bad. He needs a big boy next to him. And
Right.
I'm afraid the Bills are going to. I'd love to get him. So I'd be
Especially after, I think it's going to depend on
we should be able to find guards in the 3rd round, Jason. We should be able to find guards in the 3rd round.
Well,
There's going to be a few.
I just think it depends on what we do in free agency. It's probably going to be like I think this team has so many holes. And another thing I don't want to do, I don't want to pick a guy. I don't want to reach for a player because the team needs to get an O lineman. Because then we pass up on great players. Because I just want to draft good players. That's all I want. I don't want no more Cam Smith bust. I don't want no more Noah Igbenogany's. I don't want any of that crap. I just want them to hit on the first. I don't care who it is, to be quite honest with you. I really don't care who it is, because what doesn't look like a need today could be a need after week 4. I see it happen all the time. Players, I just want this team to draft the best players that they can get in this draft. And if it happens to be O linemen, then I'm all, which they're going to get O linemen. There's no doubt about it. They need it. They're going to draft O linemen, but I just think they need to get good players. That's what I care about. I'm already kind of one eye past this next year. I just want to draft good players so we can have a foundation in the future. Because if they keep reaching and missing on O linemen or missing on running backs or wide receivers or whatever it is, and they keep wasting these picks, we're going to be really in some trouble in a few years, bro. That's for sure. That's what I'm looking at.
I like what Brian says. I think that too. I think that if you with Jones, he was so poor in his movement skills. If you got a guy who wasn't as good a power blocker, but could move a little better, just average at everything, and then you got rid of Eichenberg and had a guy over there who was you would see an uplifting. You get yourself some solid, not cheap, but cheaper vet guards, and then get some guards and tackles and DIs and tight ends and stuff to fill it out. You just need to raise this thing a little bit, so coherency. I think just addition by subtraction by moving Jones and Eichenberg out.
Someone said,
take it, bro.
Someone said put Eichenberg at tight end, and I think that's me. That would be awesome. Let's do that.
Bring him back. Are we bringing Eichenberg back, guys? You think we're bringing Eichenberg back?
No, I think he's done. I think he's done.
I don't know. I don't know. But we are so thin on the O line. I don't know. It's really going to depend on money. It's going to depend on how that free agency first wave goes, I think, man.
If we don't bring Eichenberg back, what was the sense?
Yeah.
They know more than we do. Remember, we don't know anything.
Greer, he don't like to admit he messed up, So who knows? It wouldn't surprise me. Let's put it like that.
He's going to expand the offensive line. He brought in 8 D tackles and tar everybody. We only stuck a few, but he's going to span the offensive line. You just hope You just hope some of them hit, and he's spamming the vision. You hope.
Yeah.
I mean, last time we were on here, Dirk talked about, and you talk about all the time, Curtis, that there's no vision for the offensive line. There's no legitimate scheme and some type of a player profile that they're looking for. If they could just create that and start to find some kind of consistency in the players they're bringing in, like that's an improvement right there, you know?
100%.
Put that player in. Don't try to fit a square peg into a round hole. Like, try to use that player to, okay, all right, so he can't do this very well. So what can we do to work around that? Or how can we still utilize his strengths while still, maximizing our offense? Even if we have to tweak the play, it's like I think coaches get too arrogant, stubborn, and they're so hell bent on having everything their way that they don't. I think the good coaches adapt and they really look at the players, they look at their personnel, and they say, "Oh, you know what? How can I make this player? How can I put him in the best position?" You know what I mean? And that's why you see all these teams like on the Eagles. Look at Mekhi Becton. He was a cast off at the Jets. He was a left tackle, injured all the time, this and that. But then they go put him at guard with the Eagles. You know what? Might have found him a home. I'm just saying, like, yeah, and you look at guys on the Chiefs and you find all these players that just, they step up, and even they're old. Everyone else thinks they're washed up and old. Look at Kareem Hunt sitting on his couch, and he comes back, and Andy Reid turns him into looks like a stud again.
Joe Tooney's playing all over the line, man. How long has that guy been in the league?
Who?
Joe Tooney. He's playing all over the line for the Chiefs, man. Like,
I can't believe they moved him to left tackle.
Crazy, right? And it looks good. Looks like it's working enough.
Oh, wait, hold on. Wait. Frozen, guys, subscribe to Frozen Fin Fan. Check him out. He's a great guy. His channel's awesome.
Yeah,
I saw him. Yeah, man. Forgot about that.
Check him out. He's great. He does great work, man. I had to plug you.
Thank you.
I haven't been on YouTube too much lately.
Yeah, I think a lot of Dolphin fans are not into it, man.
I mean, just like how we're talking about it from the comments, and like how everybody's saying about trading Tyreek, and how you're saying, Jay, about, hey, well, the guys in Philly, the guys in Kansas City, it's a culture thing, gentlemen. It's a culture thing that has to change.
That's what's got to change.
Right. That's what has to change. And I mean, going back to the first thing I had said when we started, where it was, I don't know how McDaniel and Greer can. Yes, we have all these picks, but I mean, I'm sorry, I got to go back to where it's like everything has to be perfect for them. And I know that they're going to do things to try to keep their jobs, but I mean, it's been a sinking ship, or that's why no one was coming when we almost lost, Anthony Weaver. So, I mean, I said it on Dirk's page. I think we got our guy just in case if things go south for next year.
They always got a fall guy. They got another guy.
Yep.
Like, I know a guy that knows a guy that knows a guy that knows a guy,
Greer is hey, I have to say, I don't always get it right, but man, I called Dennis Nicks in 2021 Suit Hustle, and I nailed it, man. It is such scam city. I did a whole thing called Suit Hustle in 2021. And I called it the Dennis Snakes, man. It's so true. It's just like they're such scam artists. Everything they do has got a double meaning. It's like, it's so oily. It's so oily.
Yeah.
But
anyway. Crazy. It's it's gonna be interesting, man. We have like I think we're second least cap space in the NFL. I don't want them. I don't want them to kick the can 4 more years just to put a team together next year. I don't want that. I know a lot of fans want to go all out. I don't want to see them do that. I really hope they don't. But whatever. We don't have any control over what they do, anyways. But
they don't care about us.
Yeah. Well, we don't have any either way. We don't have any control of what they do. But yeah, it's like ridiculous. I just hope they don't start restructuring too and all this stuff, and then it's like we gotta just keep on kicking the can next year. I bet
they restructured Tua, man. That's one thing.
So we're sitting at 28th out of 32 teams.
28th. Yeah.
That's not bad.
Yep.
No,
that's terrible.
Not the worst.
The Bills, the Seahawks, the Browns, and the Saints.
31st, 32nd.
The Bills are worse off than us.
Yeah, but they don't have a problem. They could restructure Josh Allen. That's no problem. Like, hey, no problem, man. You want to play here for another 10 years, or they give me, like we have to. Then we gotta hire a backup, and then we gotta do like it's like what the heck are we doing, bro? That's more resources that we're taking away from hiring or drafting, whatever they use to pick up backup or whatever. It's like really, so it's just not good team management, man.
This is Greer's year. I can really feel it, guys. This is Greer's year.
Oh yeah,
the year of the Greer. He's gonna pull it all out.
The
man.
year of the
like
Greer.
I feel like a hernia.
Pull you all back in right away before the season even starts.
So, all right, I saw guys in a comment section. Is Monday night good for you guys? We were thinking about going 9. Is 9 better? 8:30 good? I was going
Works
through
for
some
me, man.
Works for everybody.
Yeah, I was just confused because you said 9 o'clock, and then I saw the thing. I saw my tab come up saying live in 30 minutes. I was like,
I'm
what?
confused, dude. I don't know what the hell I'm doing half the time. We're all over the place. So I guess we'll keep running on Mondays. We'll do 9 o'clock, 8:30, guys, or 9.
I can make 9 for sure. I can bust away from the YMCA with my daughter. She swims every Monday night.
All right, so we'll go 9. 9 o'clock next month.
If you want to change it for me, man, I appreciate that. I really do.
You're the guy, man. You're Cody, man. We got to do
Is
it.
everybody in on the emails that you send out, or do you just send it to each one of us individually?
I had hooked up Joe telling me, BBC, man. You don't just send mass mails. BBC. I'm like, oh, what's that? I thought that was like the radio station in Europe. BCC, I don't know, whatever it is, man. The B thing up there. I click that so nobody knows everyone's emails. So yeah, I hit all you guys up. I hit that
Gotcha.
Hey.
No, but I'm saying, like, if I respond, does other people see me respond? Like, if I ask,
not if you do the BBC or BCC thing.
Oh, because I just usually reply to your message. So I thought, but I've seen somebody else comment in before. I've seen somebody else.
Because I sent it wrong. And I got yelled at.
Keep saying BBC, and you're gonna get demonetized.
Yeah, right.
What did you say about Joe Philbin? What was he putting on the
I don't know. I don't know. I'm a monkey, dude.
Not BBC, BCC or whatever. Yeah.
All right, hey, 8:45. I'll set up for 8:45 next time. Is that good? We'll split the difference.
There you go. Perfect.
You're a genius. All right, guys. I appreciate everything. Jason, you don't got anything to shout out, but if you got something to shout it out. Abel, Cody's Mr. Success on Twitter. He's a Twitter guy. If you guys want to shout anything out. But then there's Dirk Diggler up there. He does the Frozen Fin fan.
Dirk Diggler with the BBC, baby.
He's got a real show to shout out.
Wait. We got to go out on our picks. Who are you guys picking for the Super Bowl? What's the score?
Oh, yeah. I forgot. Oh, yeah.
Chiefs.
All right.
Chiefs win it. They're down by 4 last drive.
And the refs and the Chiefs carry him to the touchdown.
And then it's Travis Kelce with the big second half. And then he proposes to Taylor Swift right at the end. So...
I got the Eagles, bro. I'm taking the Eagles.
He scores a game-winning touchdown, gets on his knees.
Is there any way that I can just root for like only Saquon Barkley shows up for the Super Bowl and everybody else misses it? Can I just root for that? Saquon just comes and stands in the middle of the field, and
I think the Eagles. I think the Eagles are too talented, bro. Even though their coach scares me, scares me. I think they're too talented, and I think that the Chiefs. I think if they just play smart, and they don't turn the ball over. But I just don't. I would be shocked. I would actually be semi-shocked, even though Mahomes doesn't shock me. It's like I would be semi-shocked if the Chiefs win the Super Bowl against the Eagles. I would be semi-shocked. They look at their team, bro. I don't think the team matches up. But again, there is a coach and a quarterback discrepancy, so we'll see. That'll prove right there, bro. If the Chiefs end up beating the Eagles, bro, that proves right there, bro, that. Hold on. You can have everything.
Only caveat to it is the Eagles have severe injuries with both their centers. Dickerson couldn't move his knee, had to leave the conference championship, and then the backup's got a bad back. So
didn't he come back? Didn't Dickerson come back?
Yeah, Dickerson. Well, the other guy came back.
He's got a bad back.
Jurgens, yeah, Cam Jurgens, yeah.
And he's
so if they're down his center, and usually if you notice, Go watch that game from the first up until when Dickerson came out. That team did not look the same on offense. It really started seeing heavy hiccups. So if he's in and he's healthy, I think they win.
Well, Hurts holds the ball too long, and their offensive scheme is the worst. Their receivers don't do anything. That slants goes. They don't do work off play action. Their receiver scheme. Trust me, I've watched. I know a lot of Philadelphia. I actually follow a lot of teams, but Philadelphia, bro, they complain that their offensive coach, their offensive wide receiver route schemes are the most bland. They've been saying it for the last 2.5, 3 years, bro. But they just win on talent. That's how they beat you, bro. They just lean on you, dude. They just, that's how they win.
Howie's great.
Oh yeah, their coach is horrible. Sirianni, he's absolutely horrible. That guy would not have a winning. He wouldn't have a job if he was on the any other team.
Yeah. The GM, man, he's a master. That GM. I wish we had him.
Yeah, GM. Well, hey, and that's what happens when you get you make a lot of shrewd moves, and that's where we thought we were headed with Greer, but nope.
Another stake in our heart. Let's have Fangio win a Super Bowl.
Oh, could you imagine it? Yeah.
There you go.
That's what we do. That's what we deserve.
He's so
Howie would, if we had Howie Roseman, I would say, bro, we would somehow find a way to trade the 13 pick for 2 picks. If we had Howie Roseman, because he finds a way to get that 2-3 picks, 1 pick on draft day. He's really good at that, man. He turns 1 pick into 2 or 3, bro.
Look, he got Smith for a small trade up, and he's played almost as productive as Waddle, who he spent 2 firsts on.
Dude, they traded for A.J. Brown. They gave up a first-round pick. They traded for, who was the guy on defense that they got? Anyways, but then their offensive line, defensive line is a whole bunch of first, second, third-round picks from Georgia. Then they signed free agents. They got Hurts. They drafted Hurts in the 2nd round or 3rd round, whatever they got him. And it was like, really, bro? It's just
they drafted 2 guys in Defensive Rookie of the Year contention.
Yep.
Yeah. Yep.
Mitchell.
And they had Hassan Reddick. They had they got Josh Sweat still, but they lost Brandon Graham. They lost Fletcher Cox. Brandon Graham.
Brandon Graham's going to play in a Super Bowl.
Oh, he's saying maybe. Yeah, he's saying maybe. He said yes.
I think put snaps in. He was practicing this week. I bet you he put snaps in. Maybe about 10
That's
15.
cool. I liked him.
I heard him say that before last week that he possibly will come back for the Super Bowl. Yeah. If they make it. I saw that.
So anyway, all right, guys. So we got I'll say Eagles because I can't stand the Chiefs. I'm going to say Eagles. We got KC from Cody. Abel, you said KC?
Fly, Eagles, fly.
Oh, Eagles, okay. And Dirk, man, what would you say?
I want the Eagles to win, but I'm taking Kansas City 31-24. I know. I hate it.
Oh, it's gonna suck. Oh, can you imagine that? Seeing that stupid broad, what's her name?
Taylor Swift.
Taylor Swift.
Sorry, nothing against you.
Well, actually, it's on Fox this year, so I don't think they'll be. I don't think it's on Fox this year. I don't think they'll be zeroing in on Taylor Swift for the whole game. So
we'll see.
All right, guys. Thank you again, everybody. You guys are great. Great co-hosts. Appreciate everything, guys. Great. Thank you for all your comments. And
later, Cody. Later, Abel.
Everybody, have a good night. Go Fins.
Later,
go Eagles for 1 week.
Dirt.